as Black people, we had more financial security, we would have more ownership, and we would be able to, as much as we say support Black businesses, a lot of us don't have the finances to support Black businesses, let alone anybody's businesses. Coming for you all, coming for you all, coming for you all, coming for you all.
I am your girl, the business guru, and I love to give business tips to everyone, even individuals who had no idea they needed a business, because I mean, the way things are going right now, you just gotta be about your business. Like today, I wanted to talk about making sure that we all have an EIN number established and that we're all doing business as a business, because even if you don't have any employees, you're not hiring, you don't have a brick and mortar, you still need to go ahead and get a tax ID and register it, attach it to your social security number. And even if you don't use it today and you say 2 years from now, oh, I got it, your tax ID would have been established for 2 years, which makes you have a little longevity. So I have a few. My first, I got it in 2010. My second in 2016. I've been DBA, meaning doing business as ShanaVonshe Inc. For quite some time. And so the good thing about a tax ID is that it never expires. It's like a social security number. It's really easy to get. It's free. You can go online and apply for it, literally on the irs.gov website right now. And what you can do with that tax ID number is you can build credit. You can build business credit with it. So, and not with just like banking entities, but I'm talking about like personal vendors. I mean, some of your more popular ones are like your Sam's, your Costco, but then I'm talking about other vendors too, like your Floor and Decor, or let's say you need clothes and apparel. You can go through a vendor for like clothing manufacturing. You can build these business relationships with them to whatever it is your niche is in your business. You can get business credit with a tax ID number that you cannot get as a person with just a social security number. Building business credit, not only is it a good thing to do, even if it takes you 10, 20 years to work on it, guess what? You can transfer that tax ID to your beneficiary, because once you start doing business with that tax ID and you build credit and your business grows, if you are to pass or something like that, you can leave the stocks, you can leave the shares, you can leave the business to your beneficiaries or your president or your other members, and it never dies. So just imagine Coca-Cola, that man gone, that man dead. Coca-Cola's still here. You ever see those businesses? They be like, we've been around since 1916. We back our community. Yeah, because you left it to your grown son, who left it to his son, and now he gonna leave it to his son. So the good thing about tax IDs too is that you can write off more as a business than you can as an individual. So, I mean, some of the tax write-offs include like payroll, business credits, you can write off your rent, your utilities, other expenses. You guys know about your gases, the simple things. But then there are a lot of other big tax write-offs that you can take as a business that I'll get into eventually. But today I just want to talk about establishing your business by obtaining a tax ID number. And even if you don't use it today, just having it so that when you do get that great idea for starting your business, you can do that. But me, I like to use my tax ID when I contract, no matter how big the contract, big or small. And I like to use it to just get paid on that so that I can file business taxes instead of individual taxes. So things you can do with your EIN: you can open a business banking account. You can file business taxes. You can avoid tax penalties. You can prevent identity theft. Because whenever a person tries to apply for something with your tax ID, it's a little bit harder for them to get approved through things because you have to have your social attached. So if they know your tax ID number, but they don't know your social, they can't do anything. But if they know your social, oh, they in there. So it just allows you to have to use your social list. You'll get more credibility as an independent contractor with a tax ID. You have faster business loan applications. For instance, if you wanted a business loan, you don't have a tax ID, you use your social, you less likely to get approved. And then you can hire people faster with the tax ID than you can as a sole entity. And last but not least, you get more options to do work and business overseas with a business tax ID. So those are just a couple of the things I want to talk to you guys about today. If you have questions, let's do those now.
Thank you. I want to say thank you so much for the information. Some of the information I have heard before, but it's great to hear it firsthand from someone and to directly, you know, tell you exactly what and how to do.
It's so EIN stands for Employer Identification Number, aka Tax ID. But I was gonna say, so let's say you mislocated your tax ID, you need to get it. Call the IRS. They're gonna ask you your name, your social, how you claim your taxes, how much you got back in your taxes. So not just anyone can just call in there. So they really verify you the same way that they would for you checking on like your tax return. And then they'll provide you with the information. They'll ask you, do you need another letter? Yay or nay? Or, you know, they can tell you any question you have. When did I register for it? What was the address on it? Oh, I need to update my address. I don't live there anymore. You want to make sure all that stuff's up to date. And then you just go from there.
How do I start establishing that business credit once I have my tax ID?
The first thing you want to do is open a business checking account. You know, Wells Fargo is a good place to start. There's several banks that do it, but it depends on what you're able to put in there on your minimums, how many transactions you're trying to do. That's one of the first things you can do. The second thing you can do is get a Duns and Bradstreet number. You can get it for free. There's a trick to it because they're going to solicit you to purchase a package, but you do not need to purchase a Dun and Bradstreet package to get a Dun and Bradstreet number. It is free. If you want to monitor your Dun and Bradstreet activity, same way with Experian, TransUnion, LexisNexis, Equifax, you would have to pay that monthly fee. But so the first thing, business checking, Dun and Bradstreet. Then from there, you can do one of two things. One, you can give your business checking time to start getting some like numbers or some activity on it, or you can apply for credit and piggyback your tax ID with your social based on your social security credit. So there's a couple ways you can, like, you can co-sign for your own tax ID to start building credit. Depends on how fast you want to move, which direction you're trying to go.
Okay, awesome. I just opened my my business bank account too.
So a third or fourth way, you can open a secured line of credit under your tax ID as well. That's another quick way to start. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll just want to understand from them what's the minimum required to open an account. Mm-hmm. What's the minimum activity to avoid fees? What are your monthly fees? Because you don't want to put $1,000 in there and they charge you $100 a month, and then you look up 2 months later that you ain't touched and you're like, where's my money? You know, I got $200, 20% of my money sitting there and gone just off fees. So just understand those parameters. Make sure you can meet them. If you can't, find a bank where you can meet those parameters. Don't let them talk you into getting into an account that you cannot afford, because then you'll wake up being the negative, and then that's going to throw your credit off.
Right. Got you.
The more money you have in the bank, did you know if you let your money sit in a bank account, it builds your credit?
No, that I didn't know.
Let's say you get your tax return March 1st, right? Hypothetically. $5,000, right? Boom. Sit in the account. Don't touch it. Your credit score gonna jump like anywhere between 7 to maybe 30 points. The more money you have, the higher the jump. The longer it sits there, the more it continues to increase. So I remember like my first 100,000, my score jumped to like 690 like that. And I had like a super low score. Like my score, I'm the type of person, I ain't gonna lie, I be paying cash for everything. I do. That's why I had to learn a lot about credit. I used to pay cash for everything. I'd be like, I don't give a damn. I'm buying that car 18.
I hate cash. I do not carry cash often.
And just throw cash on them. But now I'm like, okay, I can do the credit. So now that I understand credit and I get it, I'm like, okay, I'll use it. So I've been using credit now for probably the last 5-6 years. Like, so yeah, that matches. I was about 30 when I finally said, okay, I'm gonna stop paying cash everything. I'll start using the credit. I understand it now. Because it is intimidating. They make it sound like it's so difficult. People make it sound like credit is just like only the gods understand this magnificent power. That shit's so easy, y'all. You just gotta stay consistent. And just, it's like a circle. You get a credit card, you pay for gas, you get the bank account connected to it, you let the bank account pay for it. And you just use the card and let the bank, it's just a circle. And it's every month you do the same thing. And the more you're consistent in that little circle, the higher your score jumps. That's just one small example, but you know, that's it. But a secured credit card will help you too. If you don't qualify for an unsecured, you know, credit card, secured works. It's just you buying your own business credit.